Stacy's, but she couldn't get an internet connection from Poland, so she wanted me to announce the program today. She's toughing it out. I don't think this would be the right time to go to Poland, but she's there. Got Larry Morse going to talk to us a little bit today about the Upshur Area Business Roundtable. And I'd like to hope that everybody here knows that there is an Upshur Area Business Roundtable, but if not, you will know that after just a short time here today. Larry, good to have you.
Well, Pete called and asked if I'd give this presentation. I was very pleased that he did. The Business Roundtable really started with Greg Hudson calling together a group of people in June to get together and talk about putting together what is now morphed into the Upshur Area Business Roundtable. He had initially seen the need for economic development for Gilmer. And he started initially calling it the Gilmer Area Business Association. And in our first meeting that we had, I think everyone realized that we needed to look at all of Upshur County, not just Gilmer. So with that being said, I'm going to we wanted to bring together all of Upshur County, not just Gilmer, and bring it together in a way that includes not just businesses, but all other stakeholders. Brandon Dodd was talking to me several months ago, and to explain the concept, he used something like this, where you had the round table in the center, but you had all the entities that may be involved with it overlapping not only with the round table, but with each other. So as we started looking at all the organizations, the entities, and the interests that we wanted at the round table, pretty soon it got to about 20 or so in number, and it was going to be too many, to have a visual that had that many circles. It was just too busy. So we consolidated it to, for the sake of a visual look at the representation at the round table. And this is what we came up with. Obviously we have industry and business, and we have government, and then we have community, education, and infrastructure. And I'm going to go through each one of these a little bit more to talk about what all we see in each one of these spheres of influence and impact. The first being industry and business. The Gilmer Industrial Foundation has kind of been the driving force for economic development in Gilmer and Upshur County since the 1960s. The financial institutions, our banks, investments, and insurance, they're vitally important to any economic growth. Then we have our real estate developers, and Mr. Patterson here has been involved in real estate development for decades here, and it shows the importance of having a plan to develop, whether it be for commercial or for residential. And then also we have the retail, industry, and agriculture. And agriculture is very important to Upshur County, as we all know. Next we have government. We have obviously the county, the city, and state, the Upshur County Appraisal District, the East Texas Council of Governments, and law enforcement. And it's important when we look at economic development and economic growth for all the government entities to be working together. Next we have community. And in this area, we put chambers of commerce. That includes, obviously, the Gilmer Chamber as well as the Big Sandy Chamber. We also have our faith-based organizations. That includes churches, church-based organizations, as well as just Christian influence. We have our nonprofit organizations. Those are both local nonprofits as well as the national nonprofits. Healthcare, and obviously the civic clubs like the Rotary Club, as well as the Kiwanis and Lions and 20th Century. On healthcare, that's one of the areas where we've already discussed that at some of our meetings. That is an area that needs a lot of work. We want to be able to bring to Gilmer at least a 24-hour emergency care facility staffed with a doctor. Next is our infrastructure. And this includes our roads, highways, railroads, airport, Lake Gilmer, utilities, both, SWEPCO, Upshur Rural, communications. Infrastructure is vital for economic development, and we have some things that are underway with the US 271 feasibility study is going on that we hope in the future will be able to show the need for a bypass or loop around Gilmer. And then we have education. We have our school districts. Included in this also is the technical training, the vocational training of our kids. We also included in that, obviously, is the training for those who choose to go on to pursue degrees that will lead to careers. And also we want to look at adult education and then working with colleges such as Kilgore and Northeast Texas Community College. It's going to be vital that we work with our schools and with each other so that we have a workforce that's going to be the type of workforce that will help attract businesses to Upshur County. Well, one of the things that we've been working on recently are the vision and mission statements and core values for our organization. No, that was just a repeat. Now, what we have here is a draft. This is still under development. But with the vision statement, we wanted to look at the big picture of what we want to achieve. So what we have come up with today is the Upshur Area Business Roundtable is an organization of stakeholders speaking with one voice, addressing quality of life issues in Upshur County area. The mission statement, which is a general statement of how we want to achieve the vision, is to promote, coordinate, and advocate for strategic growth through organizational and community relationships. And then the core values is how we will behave during this process. Professionalism, respect, servant leadership, integrity, the golden rule principle, community engagement, and positive reinforcement. I'd like to say during this, the discussion we had about core values, one of the things that came up was we could almost use the Rotary four-way test of the things we think, say, and do as part of this. And there's so many of the Rotarians who are part of the Business Roundtable. I think it goes without saying that the four-way test will be a part of it.
Yeah.
And this is what we have under development. We're working on our strategies, goals, objectives, and action plans, as well as the bylaws for the organization. But so far, we've had a good start since the first meeting that we had back at the end of June. We've had 4 meetings. We've had 1 business summit. We've had a meeting to discuss the 271 feasibility study. And we're going to be joining with the Gilmer Industrial Foundation on an upcoming town hall that will be in December that will be discussing Lake Gilmer. So we have a number of activities underway. And I think the key thing is the takeaway that I'd like to leave with you is that we want, is an effort like we're trying to get going is going to take everyone working together. And it's going to have to be a sustained effort if we want to see an impact in Upshur County. And the true measure, I don't think, will be whether or not we attract another company like a Dual Line or a Rodroy. But at the end of the day, if we can bring all of these entities together, and we're going to have a better quality of life that could mean jobs with new companies coming in, expansion of existing businesses, growing, opportunities for our youth as they graduate from high school, whether they go into college or stay in the area. And so this is what the Upshur Area Business Roundtable is all about, and I'd like to entertain any questions that any of you may have.
Not everybody at once.
No. If no questions, then I'll turn the program over.
Larry, what's the date and place for the upcoming program around centered around Lake Gilmer?
It's going to be on December 5th at 11:45 at the Upshur Rural Auditorium. And it's going to have, actually, I think the agenda is going to be three main things. One is going to be I think the gentleman's name is Walt Sears, who's with I forgot which district it is for the water deal for the state of Texas. He's going to talk about that. There's also going to be a presentation by a lady named Janie Havel with the Governor's Office of Economic Development, and then there's going to be a panel discussion. So there's going to be three topics on that town hall meeting.
And I suppose anybody here is invited, but we
Yes.
we need an RSVP.
Yeah, we need, if any of you would like to attend, we need an RSVP by, I believe it's Monday. And I believe, Danny, if I'm correct, First National Bank is going to be providing some food for the.
Yes, we'll be cooking for that, yes. And Randy and them are providing all the registration stuff. And so we kind of, you know, the whole deal with this is to make sure that we, everybody's partnered together with one voice and making sure that we can show all the assets that Gilmer has to offer to show to the world, because it's a pretty good kept secret what Gilmer has and has to offer and where it's located. So, you know, there's tons of potential, and it just hadn't been spread to the outside world, as you would say. And so, you know, and the people here is what makes this place. And, you know, you kind of have, you know, me, it's kind of a double-edged sword. You know, you don't want to share all this with everybody, but you want to share it with all the people here. So, you know, you don't want a whole bunch of people, but, you know, you do want to brag about it, and that's a big key.
And along those lines, I think one way it came out during one of our meetings is we wanted to change the negative narrative that had been out for the last several months, and some of this came out towards the end of last year and early this year. And if you want to attract industries or companies coming into Upshur County, some of the negative narrative, which at that time was focused on the appraisal district, we need to change that. So we want to work together so that we can accomplish that fact. So, thank you.